And I'm delighted to welcome for the first time here on The World According to Rowan Dean, Liberal Senator for South Australia, Leah Blyth. Great to see you, Leah. Thanks for coming on the show. And, of course, former Labor Minister Graham Richardson. Now, Leah, I'm going to kick off with you. This is an easy one. Is Anthony Albanese the very, very, very worst Prime Minister Australia has ever had?
I would almost add another very in there. He is, without doubt, the worst Prime Minister we've ever had in Australia, and there is a long laundry list of exactly why he's the worst Prime Minister Australia's ever had. And, you know, looking at foreign policy and what he's doing on an international stage is so detrimental to Australia's national interests. He's got an energy policy that's driving industry offshore, and we've got, you know, sovereign capabilities that need government prop-ups. Hard-working taxpayer dollars are going in to make sure that they are fixing the inappropriate spending and the inappropriate policy settings that this Albanese government's got. It is a left-wing, very activist government we've got, and I would go as far to say that it is very much like a socialist regime here in Australia at the moment.
I agree with you, Leah. Richo, Graham Richardson, you were in the Hawke government. Would Bob Hawke have trashed Israel and disgusted, quote, disgusted our American allies the way Anthony Albanese has this week?
I don't think I've ever seen an Australian Prime Minister with a devotion to Israel like Hawke had. And devotion is the right word. It wasn't just respect, love, whatever. It was a total collapse of anything that was against them. He just loved them, and I look back on so many times with Hawke whenever Israel came up with a discussion, he'd get his attention. That's for sure.
And what did you make, Richo, of the Americans now, or at least the American ambassador to Israel, saying that the Trump administration is disgusted with Australia? Have you ever heard that or thought you would ever hear those comments? No,
it really surprises me. It's hardly diplomatic language, but then again, Trump's hardly a diplomat. So I suppose you've got to expect that sort of thing from him. Nonetheless, it's the language that worries you. I think that we're all wary of Trump, but I think we're getting more wary because I think he's getting crazier, and that worries me.
That's ridiculous. I've never heard anything so ridiculous, Richo. The Americans, in my opinion, are 100% correct to be absolutely appalled by what Albanese has done this week. Leah, I want to move on and ask you about this so-called economic round table, which is coming up this week. Again, speaking of Bob Hawke, he famously had some famous economic summit. Do you think this will just be a pale imitation? Is this just a PR stunt, or is it just an excuse to ramp up more taxes on the hard-pressed Australian public?
I think this is a Timu imitation of what Bob Hawke did for the Australian nation those decades ago. And you know, the fact that for this economic roundtable, the two biggest, suppressors of productivity here in our nation, being our energy policy and being our industrial relations laws, are not even on the table to be discussed at this forum, just goes to show this is a stage show. It's all for, publicity and social media clicks. There is going to be no real outcomes here. This is a big spending Labor government. The Australian taxpayer is paying the cost for that. They want, they're not looking at reducing their spending in any way. So the only way that they can make the books balance is to take more off of hardworking Australian individuals and families. And that concerns me greatly because we need some serious reform. People are hurting. We've got industries moving offshore. We've got individuals moving offshore, and, we have to have a really good, hard look and think, and we need some serious policy discussions because Australia can't keep going at this rate.
Leah and Richo, thank you so much for giving your time for The World According to Rowan Dean. Thank you both.